This is the CJ Werleman Show.
Hello, it's your friend CJ, and in this episode, we reveal why the Iran war has forever destroyed the Israel lobby. But first, please remember to like and subscribe to our show, and don't forget to turn your notifications on so you never miss a single episode. Now let's get into it. Zionists told us the Israel lobby was untouchable. They told us it was the most powerful lobbying machine in the history of American democracy, that it could make or break any politician with a single phone call, a single check, a single whispered threat in a Senate hallway. They told us that no candidate could win a major election in this country without bowing the knee to the Israel lobby, without pledging unconditional allegiance to a foreign government that has now killed more than 100,000 Palestinians in Gaza, most of them women and children. Well, Zionist assumptions have been proven wrong, dead wrong, because we are watching in real time the most consequential political realignment since the State of Israel was established on stolen Palestinian land in 1948.
We're not going to vote for anybody who takes AIPAC money.
I will not vote for a candidate that takes $1 from AIPAC.
I will not vote for any politician that takes any money from the Israel lobby.
So I've never taken money from the Israel lobby. Have you?
Taken money from the Israel...
From AIPAC.
The coercive and corrupting influence of the Zionist lobby has been so thoroughly exposed by independent journalists during the Palestinian genocide that even Jewish media outlets are openly admitting the Israel lobby is now panicked and perplexed. So, let me take you through exactly what's happening here. American sympathies shifted away from Israel and towards Palestine for the first time in US history in late 2023. As images of Israel's genocidal operations in Gaza became impossible to defend and even more impossible to ignore. Sadly, however, this shift in public opinion wasn't enough to forever vanquish the Israel lobby, which successfully backed 318 candidates in their respective congressional races during the 2024 presidential election.
Firm believer that no candidate wins an election on their own.
What I love about AIPAC is that they get behind people when they win.
AIPAC comes in, it's like someone threw you a life raft.
Much has happened in the 18 months since the US election. Not least the criminal Zionist Crusader war against Iran, launched on February 28, which, from the vantage point of ordinary Americans, now stinks of failure, humiliation, and defeat. Therefore delivering a devastating death blow to the Zionist lobby, because for the first time ever, a US administration openly confessed to being dragged into yet another expensive and self-defeating war by the State of Israel.
Yesterday, you told us that Israel was going to strike Iran, and that's why we needed to get involved.
We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces, and we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed.
Rubio's rare moment of truthfulness was compounded by the resignation of White House counter-terrorism official Joe Kent, who laid blame squarely at the feet of the Israel lobby for leading the United States into another disastrous conflict in the Middle East.
Tonight, the administration's top counterterrorism official resigning in protest over President Trump's war with Iran, declaring Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation. Joe Kent, director of the National Counterterrorism Center, writing, "I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. It is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby." Kent accusing Israel of a misinformation campaign to deceive Trump into believing that Iran posed an imminent threat to the United States, and that should he strike now, there was a clear path to swift victory. This was a lie. President Trump, who has long...
Pro-Zionist media outlets are now no longer hiding the fact that the war against Iran is Israel's war of choice, while chastising Trump for being dumb enough to be conned by the Israeli Prime Minister into believing the Iranian government and military could be toppled easily. A promise that has been proven wrong on every count, because the Iranian people did not rise up, the regime did not fall, and the Kurds did not attack. But even worse, the Iranian military has inflicted great damage and destruction on US military bases in the Middle East and the US economy. Even neoconservative hawks like Robert Kagan, who cheered on the 2003 invasion of Iraq, are calling the decision to attack Iran the greatest strategic loss in American history, saying the damage can neither be repaired nor ignored. A reality that no amount of Zionist lobby propaganda can conceal from ordinary Americans, who are now paying for Israel's insatiable lust for violence and bloodshed via higher gasoline and food prices. As inflation and interest rates soar upwards, forcing Americans to repay more on their home loans, car loans, and credit cards.
It's seeing a change. People are struggling. I just had a half tank of gas and it was over $60. And normally a full tank is about $60.
So you're getting half as much?
Getting half as much.
Our check is getting smaller and smaller by the day. It's just these diesel prices is out of control.
It's raising the prices fraudulently, and it's not a war, so I'm not sure what we're hoping to accomplish, but boy, something's happening.
American voters have learnt the hard way that Israel's strategic interests run counter to the interests of their own lives. But it's a lesson now understood nevertheless, as they watch their saving accounts dwindle and quality of life crumble, while at the same time the Israel lobby funnels tens of millions of dollars towards ousting and silencing critics of the Zionist regime's criminality, all of which has led Americans to ask a simple question. Whose democracy is this exactly? And the answer, for a growing majority of Americans, has become abundantly clear.
Hey there, I'm Harry Enton, and today we are running all the numbers on Israel's U.S. popularity problem. Israel is losing support here in the United States, even amongst Republicans. Take a look at this data. Take a look at this data amongst young Republicans. Look at this massive shift that we have had over just the last 4 years, the net favorability of Israel among Republicans under the age of 50. You go back to 2022, 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up for Israel amongst young Republicans. But by 2025, look at this. Already a 30-point shift away, their net favorability down to -2. Today, look at this, -16 points. That's an over 40-point shift in just 1, 2, 3, 4 years' time away from Israel amongst young Republicans. But that's
way more than half the United States now favors Palestine over Israel. Not the fringe, not the radicals, but more than half of all Americans. This is not a trend, this is a tectonic shift. This is the Zionist lobby freaking out. A freakout that became a full-blown panic attack when Zohran Mamdani, an unapologetic defender of Palestinian rights, became the first Muslim and South Asian mayor of New York City, the financial capital of the United States, by defeating the Israel lobby's chosen candidate, Andrew Cuomo, by roughly 10 points. Now think about what they threw at him. We are talking about Zionist billionaires, including Michael Bloomberg, Bill Ackman, Ronald Lauder of the World Jewish Congress, and Rupert Murdoch's Fox News lining up to back Cuomo. As the New York Post, the New York Times, and the Wall Street Journal joined the anti-Mamdani coalition. But Mamdani walked straight through all of it, with 83% of voters saying it was his pro-Palestine views that drove them to the voting booth. He also won because American Jews have become some of the most outspoken critics of what Israel is doing. But more importantly, they understand that the Zionist lobby does not speak for the Jewish community, and it never did. It speaks only for a political project built on keeping the American government unconditionally aligned with whatever Israeli government happens to be in power, no matter how far right, no matter how many war crimes it commits.
No secret, therefore, that in the midst of all of this, we have lobbying groups like AIPAC and the far-right Christians United for Israel lobby, who are providing unquestioning support for Israel's right-wing government. They are spending enormous sums of money right now to influence our political system, money, politics, foreign policy. Last election cycle, AIPAC's Super PAC spent over $30 million in dark money to oppose progressive candidates, many of whom I have personally worked with and supported, who spoke out in favor of Palestinian human rights instantly. That's all you got to do. Speak out in favor of the dignity, that's all, of the Palestinian people. And then you are on the AIPAC hit list. and you will be the recipients of large amounts of money trying to defeat you.
This changing landscape means that refusing to criticize Israel's crimes or insisting on endlessly sending it weapons while it commits them is decidedly not good policy or good politics in 2026, 2028 and beyond. And the Israeli lobby knows it, because it saw exactly what happened in a New Jersey congressional primary race in February of this year, where the lobby spent more than $2 million to destroy a centrist Democrat who had merely suggested that certain conditions might need to be placed on US military aid to Israel.
All right, man. So we got some absolutely massive news out of a primary special election in 2026 in the New Jersey House. So this is a seat that is going to represent New Jersey's 11th district in the federal House of Representatives. Basically what has happened is AIPAC has decided to dump a shitload of money into this race. They dropped over $2 million against this guy, Tom Malinowski. Now, he's only slightly critical of Israel. I think all he basically had said was he wasn't willing to basically not be okay with limiting Israel's aid based on certain criterion. And so they dropped like $2 million against this guy. And basically what they ended up doing by dropping so much money against Tom Malinowski, they ended up actually helping a progressive who's genuinely anti-Israel and pro-Palestine win. That's actually what ended up happening. So it's absolutely hilarious.
AIPAC wasted millions of dollars on an election in which voters ultimately ended up choosing a candidate who rightly accuses Israel of committing genocide. That is not power. That is a firing squad that keeps shooting itself in the foot as it wastes millions of more dollars in backing Zionists who are losing to pro-Palestine candidates across the country, like we see here for the Democratic primary for the United States Senate in Michigan. The tables are now completely turned. You see, when the Israel lobby operated quietly in the shadows, it was feared. But now that its dollars are exposed, its candidate selections are scrutinized, and its tactics are mapped in real time by grassroots organizations like Track AIPAC, the lobby's greatest weapon, fear, has been stripped from it.
As the AIPAC brand becomes increasingly toxic thanks to the genocide Israel is committing in Gaza, some Democrats on the Hill are finally starting to get the message and backing off of their cozy ties with the Israel lobby.
The fate of the Zionist state is directly tied to the fate of the Zionist lobby, because the decline or death of one means ultimate doom for the other. A death spiral that starts with congressional members proposing bills to end military aid to Israel.
There is no military purpose in starving thousands and thousands of children. Let us be clear. This is not an effort to win a war. This is an effort to destroy a people. Further, Mr. President, recent Economist YouGov poll shows that just 15% of the American people support increasing military aid to Israel, while 35% support decreasing military aid to Israel or stopping it entirely. Just 8% of Democrats support increasing military aid to Israel. Mr. President,
the Israeli lobby is not only losing influence at the margins, it has lost its foundational premise that support for Israel is good politics. Its loss is a massive win in the fight for Palestinian liberation. But it's important we don't get ahead of ourselves. And it's even more important we keep things in perspective. Because the Zionist lobby's collapse doesn't mean it's dead and buried, at least yet. It still exists and has billions of dollars behind it. It will try to buy its way back, and it will still try to silence and intimidate its critics, including independent journalists and including our program. Remembering that the Israel lobby successfully pressured YouTube into demonetizing our channel 6 months ago. Therefore, we kindly ask that you please support our effort to expose and confront the Zionist lobby and other injustices in the Muslim world by becoming a member of our show at patreon.com/CJ We can't produce, sustain and grow this show without your help, and we offer exclusive content and other benefits to those who do. So whether you're watching or listening, we wish you a good morning, good evening, wherever you are, and stay blessed.